morning for our 10 minutes of morning calm. Today we're doing 10 minutes of morning calm 30 minutes early. So my apologies for that, folks. The reason why is that I actually have an 8:30 a.m. meeting that I missed on my calendar, a denominational meeting. So we're going to stream this live, and you folks can, hopefully you can just enjoy it either in archived form, or if you happen to be able to pick it up live this morning, terrific. So what we're talking about today is kind of a nuanced a debate that Jesus is having with the Pharisees. He does that a lot in here. Debate he's having with the clergy, and there's some nuanced argument in here, and it's important argument in terms of, again, when we start to look at it for ourselves, like, not who are the bad guys out there. Let's see how Jesus deals with the baddies, as my grandma would say. But it's very much about us, and very much about, okay, so where can I do that? Because folks, there is a part of us, to be honest, that's really good at rejecting Jesus, really good at rejecting God, very practiced at it. I think we all can be that way, and it can show up in real subtle ways. I think about, when you really start to allow Jesus's message in, there's so much that we've got to let go of. There's so much of our own opinions, our own way we think the world is supposed to work. There's so much of the judgments that we feel we have to make out there. And there's so much to pick up in terms of how we act and what we do and how we make things move forward. And it's a constant challenge, I think, of the human condition, is that we can sort of pick Jesus up for those super convenient times like Christmas, when it's all in this easy and great. And then totally drop it when it just becomes a little too much about service, a little too much about giving up my judgments of other people. I'm speaking personally here. We want to put it down. And I think that's that Pharisee part of us that they can't quite buy into this completely, because we've got our own agenda. So that's what we're picking up today. And today is, it's got some interesting parts to it. All right, so here we are. The Pharisees then answered him, "Aren't we right in saying you are a Samaritan and demon possessed?" So they pull out the two big cards there. So Jesus hasn't quite answered their questions. So they say, number one, you're a Samaritan. Number two, you're obviously possessed by a demon. Little crazy there. And the Samaritan, that was always a dig, and that's why Jesus is always sort of battling for the Samaritans. It was a dig there. A demon possessed, that's an obvious one. And how does Jesus respond? Jesus said, "I am not possessed by a demon, but I honor my Father, and you dishonor me. I'm not seeking glory for myself, but there is one who seeks it, and he is the judge. I tell you the truth, if anyone keeps my word, he will never see death." So a couple real subtle pieces there, folks. First off, that word glory could also be translated celebration, or to celebrate, or to be celebrated. So when Jesus is talking about, like, glory, he's talking about God's celebration, or celebration of God, celebration with God, God's celebration, just that simple. And it's a really fascinating little subtle twist here. And he's saying something very significant. He's saying, look, you're going after me and you're dishonoring me. And I'm constantly pointing to God and going, like, this is about honoring and celebrating God. This is not about me. That Jesus saw himself as a servant in that direction. And again, he was God with sandals on. He comes more and more into that. But it's always pointing outward. I think, folks, it's in life, and I had this conversation a couple times yesterday with people. We have to constantly come back to, and this is so important as we're trying to begin in new ways. What does the word begin mean? Begin means an invitation. And we always have to be thinking in terms of invitation. I work with a lot of people who struggle in different ways, and because that's part of the pastoral work. It's very blessed work. I think about that with church as well. Like, we're in really tough times, and it's so easy to allow the conversation to degrade down to here, sort of as this name calling thing, which is, I think, what Jesus is sort of calling out there. And instead, we have to not allow conversations to degrade, but constantly thinking, what's the invitation here? What's the invitation here? So imagine a challenging one that you have. We all have challenging relationships or challenging groups we work with, and imagine this weekend just a very quiet commitment to, as gentle as we can, ask the question, what's the invitation here? And even in those really hard ones, even in those really hard relationships, it just feels so stuck. And it's just like, oh, when you see, when you see that on your phone or that text message, and you can just take a breath and think, all right, what's the invitation here? This is about, if it is about like this celebration of life and celebration of God and these much bigger pieces, how do we not allow conversation to degrade into simple name calling? I think that would be about as basic as I think we can put it. So do think about that, friends, because I think we really need to get much better at this idea of invitation. I certainly do. I struggle with it all the time. I want to be right. I don't really want to invite people into a reimagined future. And if I do invite them, I want to invite them into the way I see it. And that's not what an invitation is. An invitation is a conversation to move forward. And how does that look? And that idea, that might be what actually honors God. Where we park our own opinions, we park the name calling, we park all that, and we just say, all right, what's the invitation here? So I hope that makes sense, friends. It's kind of an interesting way to look at it, and it's all you want to know the secret to pastoral counseling? That's it. Just figure out what the invitation is, and then help people to have a conversation around that. And I think it's a good part of the human condition too, that we can think that way, and what a relief that is. So with that, friends, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little meditation here, and then that's going to be followed after the meditation by a prayer, after the prayer by a little blessing. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to ring our bell. Just get a big breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace and bring you home. Amen. All right, friends, let's do a quick check here and see if anybody was able to check in with us. So if you are, again, my apologies, just a couple little bookkeeping things. My apologies for being our timing today being a little off, but I had an 8:30 meeting I wasn't aware of. Well, I was aware of, I just totally forgot about it. So I bumped this up to 8 o'clock, so you'll be able to watch it in archived version, because I actually hate to miss this. It means a lot to me to be here with you folks. And if you're leaving a comment, you can leave it on the New Church Live Facebook page. That's where I'm reading comments from, and we're almost ready to see those comments here. All right, we got seven people commenting this morning. So we'll give a little good morning blast out. Maria, good morning to you, my dear friend. Great to see you joining us this morning. And Marcus, good morning, buddy. Always great to see that sunshine. Yeah, Linda, a little early, and my apologies, but it's nice that we'll be able to have this archived for those who come on a little later in the day. Len, great to see you, my dear friend, and always so funny. I love seeing pictures of your growing family. What a beautiful family. Patty, great to see you joining us this morning. And Teresa, my former Pocono Mountain student up there in the Poconos. Great to have you joining us. Linda, prayers for my brother. Yes, we'll definitely. I saw your text literally right before I came on here. So let me know if there's anything I can do there. Yeah, you know what, Patty? It was really funny. I was listening to the birds, and it actually was this beautiful little distraction in the background. And it's kind of funny because we're on our office on a very busy road right out here, Huntington Pike. But I hear the birds a lot more, which sure is, sure is beautiful. And see Kane checking in there. So just wishing you folks all the best. And again, my apologies for coming on 30 minutes early for our 10 minutes of morning calm, if that makes sense. But please, again, if you're watching archive, leave a comment. I'll make sure to respond to you later in the day. And God bless, folks. Have a terrific